I'm sitting there like, man, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Ask Mathis. I'm your host, Reggie Mathis. And rocking with me is my brother, Wild Man Teddy T, a.k.a. Baron Theo Mound-builder.
Hey, what's going on?
Chillin', man. It's going on, man. It's
Everything.
going on. It's going on.
Everything is
Can we
going
say
on.
off the wall?
It's definitely off the wall.
To the wall, man. What you think, bro?
Well, you know, they said that we made the right decision. I think that's what you were saying the other day. That it was
it wasn't our decision, but similar to J.D. Vance,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he'd been, I thought, a pretty effective communicator over the, weeks leading up to Trump picking his VP candidate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because before I thought it was Tim Scott's to lose,
Right.
but he lost it, man. 'Cause
Long
once
time
you
ago.
say mushmouth,
Mm-hmm.
people couldn't unsee that.
Mm-mm.
They couldn't unsee
No
it,
respect.
bro. You know, just coming in there, he had no dignity, no self-respect, man. Just cooning, man. It was just straight cooning. Nobody wasn't with that, bro. So the dude J.D. Vance, man, just started, just putting it out there. Now the problem with J.D. Vance is that he doesn't appear he was fully vetted.
Mm-mm.
Because it's coming out with
Everything.
man changed his name multiple times. You know, he writes a book, Hillbilly Elegy, which is about his humble upbringing and beginnings and whatnot, and turns around and writes a book, trashing everybody basically there. Has some friendships that now he wish he probably didn't have, and now he's Mr. Anti-trans, but his best friends, Nelson, is a trans dude. So
kept one in the pocket.
But and this guy runs around calling everybody chameleons. It's like, how I just be like, what's the new TikTok craze or whatever? Like, put your finger down if you change your name once. Put your finger down if you change your name twice. Put your finger down if you talking about mixed kids, but you were married to an Indian lady. So, are your children mixed kids, or are they white?
Which one?
Which one? What do they put down on? Man, bruh. Anyway, so I figure with Walls, man, he was the one that seemed like, that Midwest is where where she needs to go. And let's keep it 1,000 as we do on the Ask Mathis show. She needed to have good old white man come in there and say she one of us. She all right. She good.
She good.
She good. She all right. She not a San Francisco liberal all the way. She all right.
She can bounce out with us.
Yeah, man. So
and they say Trump was threatening Waltz, Minnesota. They say that kind of secured Kamala's bid for his home state.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota's one of those places. Y'all remember Jesse the Body Ventura?
That's right. That's what it came back
ended
to.
up being the governor of Minnesota with a fake name, because Jesse the Body is not his name. We still don't know his
real name.
His real name.
Nope.
His name at birth. But
Nope.
Minnesota's like, it don't matter.
We know you as Jesse the Body.
Right, it don't matter. So Buddy was a farmer, a coach, a civics teacher, 24 years in the military.
That's number one.
In National Guard.
They love that.
So J.D. Vance came back today, trying to test out some music, man. It's like he went to the strip club to just put it in and ask the DJ, like, play this tune, let me see if it sticks. He's like, hey, unlike him, I was deployed, to Iraq. He got out 2 months before and disappointed his whole, squadron and whatnot. So that's the tune that he's playing today, is that the Walls got out.
Before.
He got deployed to Italy, but before the rest of his folks got deployed to Iraq, He said, "Let me let me take my talents back to Minnesota."
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how it goes, but he's up to the task, or at least he seems to be up to the task.
Yeah.
Unlike President Biden, man, President Biden looked like he just was just.
Yeah, well, he's in spirit, good guy, great actor, great guy in spirit. I watched him the other day with the prisoners that came home. It doesn't look like he's always there. It's like the camera's on. Oh yeah, the camera's on you. Oh yeah, I gotta pay attention. Whoa, yep, it's looking good out here. Is the camera still on? I don't know. But we'll just see what happens. I think Wiles, what he does is he like it's more politics. It comes back to politics with him and Kamala, and while these other guys they just point figures and say names. So let's see how long that lasts.
Mathis, you good?
Jill, where's my ice cream? Where's my vanilla ice cream, Jill? Hey, Mr. President.
Wrong spot.
Yeah, wake up, Grandpa.
I mean that intently. The idea. Bruh. Nah, he lost us. Biden, great warrior, go down. What they saying, one of the most consequential, blah, blah, blah. He always got a plate at the picnic. Mm-hmm. He always got a plate at the cookout because he was with Obama.
That's right.
And now he came with Kamala, so
he's
good. What I mean? We'll trade him for Amber Rose. We'll make the swap. We'll make the swap.
I think Biden was the best vice president. Now he did extremely great service for Obama.
Yes, definitely. He did.
Especially with Obamacare. His 40 years in the Senate, definitely, he probably convinced John McCain, because remember, John McCain was really that crucial vote. When he came in at the end, John McCain came in there, whatever, like toward the end, John McCain said, and hold ass. He came in there, hold ass, man. But Teddy, go ahead, man. We got a special guest up in here, man. And this campaign season, election
politicians
season,
in the building.
And we always recognize and appreciate anybody that makes it in person. They don't Zoom in. They come in. And we got the man himself, Miami Gardens own. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who got a wife named Lady, anybody's got a wife named Lady, bro, and with the signs, with the beautiful bow ties, hey,
he got that vibe, he got that
That,
style,
man. He's the guy, man. Welcome to Ask Mathis, bro.
Welcome.
Ask Mathis, my brother Terry. Hey. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Listen, you just won some. How much do you want? Just tell me. No, that's a kind of you.
We just need the 4th District Court of Appeals to affirm this 82.6 bill, bro. We Gucci.
Yeah.
We Gucci over here, but man, I appreciate you coming, bro.
Absolutely, I win.
So tell us why, in the city that you love, Miami Gardens, that you feel that Rodney Harris, the incumbent, the current mayor, does not deserve another shot. Be real, be raw now.
It is always, that's the only way. Like you were saying before, Mathis, I don't play, I don't sugarcoat.
At all.
And I'm straight up. Rodney is a good guy, but he's a bad mayor.
Woo!
I was on the council with him. I served with him. Rodney used to take me when I didn't have a right to go home sometimes. He'd take me home. We're cool. And that's how much I trusted him. But I'm saying, as a mayor, he's a puppet.
Man.
The people need...
Of who?
Of Oliver Gilbert.
Ooh!
The people need a mayor, not a puppet.
Wow.
Rodney was with me on the council when we voted 6-0 against the Formula One deal. Oliver Gilbert was the mayor. He conveniently did not show up for that meeting, acting like he was against Formula One. But 2 years later, after I left the council, I vacated my seat. I never lost. Vacated my seat. My wife got elected, not to my seat. She won her own seat. 64% of the voters voted for her. There's no other couple in the history of Miami Gardens, and perhaps the history of Florida, with that record.
Bro, y'all raw, man. Y'all raw.
Listen, so what happens in the span of 2 years that the deal came back? Rodney brought the deal to the table after we saw it in the newspaper that he had signed the deal with Formula One to give Miami Gardens $5 million for 10 years. Listen to me, family.
So you think they just jumped on the money and didn't really look at the economic impact? Because I was at the Miami Gardens commission meeting, the last one that they had before they recessed, and the citizens, the homeowners, was highly upset about not being consulted with the traffic flow and a lot of the things, happening where they live, based on the development that's going on.
Absolutely. It's not just the fact, and that is important, that the citizens did not have an opinion in the matter, because there was concern about environmental pollution, there was concern about traffic, and of course, the deal was minuscule for a city our size. People felt like they were just silenced, no voice. So I believe that what Rodney did was to placate the community and satisfy Oliver Gilbert, because that's what he wanted. We need to make sure that when there is a deal that can potentially be hazardous and harmful to our self-interest, we got to make sure we get the best bucks out of that deal. There should be some level of commitment in terms of how much we get from every ticket, how much we get from endorsements, how much we get from parking. Revenue should be streaming. They made over $400 million from the first year.
Formula One.
Yes.
So $5 million over 10 years is
and
pennies.
even 1%. It's not
pennies.
It doesn't make any business. They will not accept that in the city of Miami or Weston or Ventura.
Right. So when I used to work at the Miami Center, when they would race downtown, how did anybody do a study and see like what type of revenue is generated by the city of Miami when they were doing that? So you'll know at least apples to apples.
It must not have been a good deal because they stopped it after 1 year.
Well, was that information brought up to the council at any point?
When you have a mindset that is warped and compromised, there's no negotiation. I'm a man. I don't bend over when I don't need to bend.
Bruh, tell us a little bit about yourself, man, because we've seen all the signs. We heard the political advertisements and whatnot, but tell us about Brother Iguodara, the man, and how you feel so strong in your positions.
I was born in Africa, West Africa, Nigeria. I came here to play basketball at Florida Memorial University. It was there that I met the most brilliant political mind in the whole of South Florida at that time.
Your wife?
The late Dr. Robert Ingram.
Oh, brother, from Opelika.
Opelika, yes. He was a former chief of police in Opelika, former mayor, former school board. Legend. It was my teacher, criminal justice professor at Florida Memorial. He said, I see something in you, young man, that you need to run for office. So he mentored me into politics. Beyond that foundation that I got, brother, I come from an ethics that believes that we must fight for our people. I'm from Florida, the mecca of black education in South Florida, Florida Memorial University.
Right, the only
Not FAMU.
Right.
Right? FAMU is good. We love our HBCs, but the only one we have here, Florida Memorial, and we're neglecting that school. But anyways, I was schooled at Florida Memorial to take care of the black community. Because globally, we have been miseducated. Even in Africa, all over the Caribbean, where you find black people, they go and act against their own self-interest 99% of the time. And that's what College Wilson called the miseducation of the Negro. So I'm not part of that. I have to fight. I live in this community. I don't live in some elected officials you have in Miami Gardens. They live outside of Miami Gardens. They play in our community. I live there. I live here with my children, wife and 2 kids. So I have a commitment. I have a stake in this community. I taught in this community. I was a teacher at Norland Middle, Miami Norland Senior High School. I'm a Viking at heart. I'm a professor at Florida Memorial University. I'm a pastor of a church in Miami Gardens, Mount Zion AME Church. I'm not leaving this community, and nobody's going to turn me around. I'm here.
That's what's up.
I'm here to stay.
That's what's up. So did you have a conversation with Brother Harris before you entered against him? You said, brother, I respect you, I love you, but I feel I can do a better job for the people of Miami Gardens. Or you just said, hey, he'll find out when he find out.
That's a good question, brother. I would not, because of my black consciousness. Ingram told me when I was a student, we don't run against each other, right? Black people, especially if they're doing good. But I don't respect a man who does not trust and keep his word. Rodney told me he was going to do 1 term. And he asked for my support for that 1 term. And if you can't keep your word, that's on you, not me. And I'm saying it in the public airways. If he denies it, then we can have a debate about that. That means he doesn't.
Well, here's the thing. And he's been with corrections for a long time.
Juvenile justice.
Thank you for that. And on Sunday at 11 a.m., when you in church, but this airs on Video Mix, and it airs throughout Orlando, Tampa, and all the facilities. Juvenile corrections. So, if Mayor Harris is working today, y'all tell him to go take a look at the screen.
Yes, sir.
Because we got a proud black man that's up in here.
Yes, sir.
And he calling you out.
Calling you out. Let's have a debate.
Oh!
Straight up.
Right here on Ask
spanking
Mathis.
in public.
Right here on Ask Mathis.
Absolutely.
And just come in and just say, what's your vision?
Yeah.
Versus the Harris vision. And like you said, thing about Miami Gardens is that, what we see, because we have the FYFL, the league, the football league, and we have the Studio 183.
Yes,
so we're doing business in Miami Gardens, and we come out. It's all love and it's all respect and joy and whatnot. But we don't know what's going on as far as the contracts and the this and that. So I'm not going to come in there. But I agree with you, and I appreciate you saying it, which is, and I wish our national politicians could do the same thing that you're doing, which is let's talk policy and let's not talk about each other.
Personalities,
the personalities, because the people, the ones that are suffering, or the people are the ones that you can deliver. Yeah. And it sounds like that's what you want.
That's my interest. When I just got elected, Mayor Oliver Gilbert at the time passed a campaign on a bond issue to renovate all of our parks. It was a $60 million bond. And the promise was to open the parks that have been closed and renovate those which are dilapidated. But one of the singular parks right next to my church at Bunch Park is the Bunch Park Pool. And most of our young people in our community came out swimming at that pool. For over 20 years, that pool had been closed. And Oliver campaigned that pool is going to be open. So when I got appointed, he appointed me, and so for all intents and purposes, I'm grateful for that. But I'm not beholden to no one. No, I only serve a God. God appoints. Promotion doesn't come from the east or west. It came from above. But anyways, when the bond was passed and the time came to be implemented, I was on the council, and Rodney Harris was representing Bunch Park at that time, Bunch Pool. That's the area I live, and my wife sits on that seat now. At a town hall meeting next to my church, Rodney was going to, because Oliver told him to do this presentation. He brought staff, and they were giving us this beautiful presentation of a water splash pad that they were going to give Bunch community as opposed to the pool. And the people ran Rodney out of that meeting and said, no, we want our pool that you promised us. And I was in that meeting. It's a public record. And I had a call for a town hall meeting myself at New Beginning Church, Eric Redding's church. I know they don't like Eric Redding, and the community came out and they said, we want our pool at Bunch Park. That's where that church is. And out of that meeting, I brought an item to the next council meeting to open Bunch Pool, like they promised Bunch community. And that pool is open today because I fought for Bunch Pool. And Oliver felt I threw him under the bus. That's why today we are estranged.
We're all political enemies now.
Right now, that's right, because I did not toe the line. But I am a man of my word. If you tell me, don't promise nothing, I won't promise you what I can deliver. If I can't deliver, I say I cannot, I could not for this reason. But don't make me look like a fool. And Rodney sold that community out on that Bunch. Till this day, this pool was given to this community. There's something called malicious obedience in psychology. They gave Bunch, they agreed to, after I forced them, I made it public. It was all public. It was in the papers. So they were forced to vote for it. And they opened that pool, but made it a shallower pool. Instead of 10 foot deep, that was original pool, is now 5 foot deep. That's punitive to that community.
That's terrible.
That's bad. That's bad. That's vindictive.
Right.
Retribution.
What was the rationale behind it? Insurance? They didn't want anybody to drown? No lifeguard?
The first argument they were making was that the parks in all cities are moving away from opening pools. That's nonsense. So they're saying we don't need pools anymore. But the original intention was to take the money and move it somewhere else. If you know what I mean.
The 60, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so it is not about the pool being there. It's just, for me, it was a part of them.
So they threw a couple dollars on it.
Yeah.
To open the pool versus the money with bringing in the water splash park that was the real play, in your opinion, in your mind.
That's right.
So what about Charles Hadley Park, where that pool is? How deep is that pool at Charles Hadley? Do you know?
Charles Hadley's out of Miami Gardens, but I don't know how deep that pool is.
I was at an event there, and I saw the kids going in, and you know, I never, because I grew up in Broward, Pompano specifically,
right.
And you know, so I never really got into the pool culture of Miami-Dade outside of my own kids, but not with the community. But when I was at an event at Charles Hadley the other day, and I saw, you know, the kids and the parents and the moms showing up with the kids to go in there, it instantly took me back to Ely Pool, where we used to go, you know, as kids, and we paid, you know, $1 to go in there and swim, and that's, you know, have splash parties, and you had lifeguards, and you had other stuff, and I was like, man, a pool in South Florida with so many unnecessary drownings.
That's right. Disproportionately, our people drown more.
Yeah. Because
we don't swim, we don't. And this is an area where you need to know how to swim.
You need to know how to swim.
You need to.
You need to know how to swim. it's necessary, bro. But when I saw the mom, bro, it wasn't like a whole bunch of people was coming. It was like, so I could see why the municipalities might say, well, people are moving away from the pools, but it's too much water for folks not to know how to swim. So I appreciate that. So what else, do you see yourself implementing, should you be reelected and become the mayor of Miami Gardens?
First of all, I know part of what I was alluding to when I mentioned the bond was to look at how the monies are spent. We have $60 million at that time. Now, some of the parks have not been totally completed. Some have. And we need to do an audit, forensic audit of where that money is. Secondly, we got to make sure that when I was on the council, I developed an instrument called the BREP, the Business Resident Economic Plan, that will ensure two things. One, that businesses that make money out of this bond implementation, construction, plumbing, technicians, electrical companies, we must look at Miami Gardens businesses first. We have businesses in Miami Gardens who are construction. Doja & Doja is a black construction company.
So what about this past Tuesday for the city center? What do you say about that? Is that along the lines of what you're talking about?
That's window dressing.
That was what.
Listen, it's part of. But what I did was an instrument that worked, and we hired a young lady from Fort Lauderdale, Lindell Miller, who was doing a good job doing a catalog of businesses that in Miami Gardens they look at the project, look at the businesses that are already here, and match them. And if there are no businesses here, we'll bring one of the bigger companies to mentor small businesses who don't have capacity.
Right.
And she was doing all of that and hiring Miami Gardens residents to work those contracts. And they ran her out of town. So we don't know today how many black businesses or Miami Gardens businesses benefited from the bond. So we got to know that.
And one of the things that, folks mention a lot or way more is we're over here in Hialeah right now. Hialeah is a majority Hispanic community. When you go downtown, when you go into City Hall and you go into any of the stuff, 9 out of 10 of the people are Hispanic. But that's not the same in Miami Gardens. And that's something that people, it's like, well, why is that? Not that we don't discriminate against anybody, but if you are touting yourself as a black city, like, are you saying that there's not enough qualified black folks available? Or, the city manager, Cameron is black. The city attorney, Sonia, is black. Your clerk is black. So I guess you can say that. But your inspector, is Hispanic. As far as the guy that's doing it, like a lot of the law enforcement that I see, especially in major crimes, a lot of, white guys in the major crimes, police force. So what is your vision as it comes to the city reflecting its residents?
It makes sense. It is the law of nature. You take care of your own. I don't look at it from a color perspective. Residents. Your community workforce should be reflective of the residential demographics. It makes sense that's survival. When we got on the council, when I was there, Oliver did a good thing. We fought for the hiring of more of our officers to come from Miami Gardens, because we inherited a system where almost 70% of the hires when the city was founded with, not even from Florida, out of state. And we were having issues with racial profiling, but we've gone past that. But today, you're right, there's still inconsistencies with the demographics across the system. Public works, in code enforcement, in police. And we have a crisis in our police department. Now, people don't even know. About 66 vacancies in Miami Gardens. 33 of those, half of them is from patrol. We don't have enough police officers. The records department is depleted. They said, I don't know if they're transitioning into a more digital kind of online system, but you don't just close 10 people quit or they let go from the records department. If you don't have a records, how people are going to follow up with the arrest and trying to resolve crimes? Victims of crime need those records. We're in a crisis mode in mind. It's silent, but it's brewing. And if you look at the media reports of all the shootings in the last 2 months, there is something that is amiss in Miami Gardens in terms of how we're policing our community.
There we go, man. We have mayoral candidate Ligadaro here on Ask Mathis. We're going to let you catch your breath. So you got your Gatorade here. We're a Celsius station, but it's okay to have your Gatorade here. And in doing that, we're going to take up a couple stories. And when we come back to you, we need to know what you got coming up on the horizon as far as campaign events, how you can be supported, how you can be contacted, and how you can be volunteered for signs and whatnot. So I see you got right now, Step, you got White Dudes for Harris account suspended after raising $4 million. And that was before the Veep stakes. That was before Walls was tapped. So it seems like Elon Musk must have already was thinking, you know, that, hey, don't go with Governor Shapiro from Pennsylvania. First of all, you're going to lose Michigan because you're not going to get the Islamic votes. If you go with Shapiro, you're going to lose that. And then secondly, you know, he's a young guy. He's in his first term as governor. So I think they said, you know what, definitely not Buttigieg. You know, they definitely gonna have a sister and a homosexual. That's, you know what I mean. That's too much at one time. You know, for some of the people.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean. For some of the people, that's too much. You know, the guy from North Carolina, that's only 9 electoral votes. It's like, you know, Kentucky, you're not going to win Kentucky. So just whatever. So I think just the last few Sunday shows, I was seeing how Walls, you know, was coming, you know, and he was taking it to him. Like, he wasn't backing down. He wasn't like, oh, please don't hit me. He was like, I want to get hit, but while I'm here, it's like a party. I like a party. So I might get hit, but I'm throwing some haymakers. So he came out throwing some haymakers, and I think people's, you know, excited about that. It's like, yeah, that's what we own. That's what we doing. So now, when you think about it, each day that goes by, you start to think about why it makes sense. Number one, who galvanized the world? George Floyd. George Floyd galvanized the world. You had folks around the world on every continent talking about Black Lives Matter. So who better to come in on that particular feeling to say, hey, there's a way that we can all exist together but be separate. I grew up on a farm. I was in the military. I was a high school football coach. I was a civics professor. I know people from the heartland. Don't give up on the people from the heartland. They not all with this dude over here, but nobody's talking to him, or they don't see anybody talking to him. Right. So when they see me and I just tell my story about what we doing and whatnot, and I'm like, hey, you know what? They're the weird ones, not us. And then I heard the best thing yet, Teddy, where he was like, you know what the golden rule is? None of your damn business. Mind your own business.
That's it.
Like, mind your own business. I think that resonates. I think that's going to resonate, you know, with some people. So, you know, just curious and having the, you know, individual groups I wasn't really for that. As Brother Iguodala said, I don't see color residents. So to come with this whole white dudes and black or females and all that, separation and whatnot, that was cool for what it was, but I don't think there needs to be a continuation of that. It just needs to be like, we talking common sense.
Yeah.
We're talking, tabletop issues. This guy, everything about this guy is enriching himself and his friends. Everything that we're trying to do is give everybody some relief. Whether it's the child care credit, he got it passed as the governor. So you talk about progressive liberal politics, he got it passed. Stuff that they're talking about. Well, you talking about, abortion, and one of the things that Biden in that debate was trying to say, but didn't effectively say it, it was like, I want to return to Roe v. Wade. That's what I want to return to, as opposed to saying, okay, well, what about Roe v. Wade that you want to return to, right? That's what Walz did in Minnesota. Is essentially they codified Roe v. Wade, which, is, I don't think it was good law. From law school, like the way it was decided, I don't think it was necessarily sound. So seeing it get dismantled, I didn't cry about it, but I understood the impact and the effect of it. Just like Brown v. Board of Education. I'm glad, I guess, that Brother Marshall was able to get that through, but the precedent was totally against that decision. Plessy versus Ferguson and Dred Scott was totally contrary to that. You had to basically, the Supreme Court had to just come in there and just make up the law on separate but equal based on some dolls. The effect, not the effect, but should the judges be doing that? And that's the issue. Like, should they be following the law as passed by Congress, or should they come in there and just like, man, that's messed up that a kid choose a white dog 10 out of 10 times. That's not really precedent law, but after a certain amount of time, it becomes part of the culture. It becomes part of the custom. And each one of those 3 justices that Donald Trump appointed all came in front of Congress, all came in front of the people and said, you know what, it's settled law. We're going to leave it alone. But what did they do? They came in and just and flipped that. And now folks is like, why is it important, to come out and vote? Well, my take is like the lieutenant governor of Georgia. He's a Republican. I'm a Republican. But what he's saying is what Trump is doing is not conservative, is not Republican, is not the way things are going. Right now, it's a cult. And if you don't come in there and deal with these grievances and all this stuff that he's doing, so I'm glad that, Walz is in here. Whether they win or lose, I think the conversation necessarily is going to have to change if they stay on message. That's a big if.
Yep. It's definitely.
Man, you broke that thing down, man. When I was in college, we used to have, before we had Google, we had Ask Jeeves. So I got to ask Mathis. Everything that makes sense. Use common sense, bro.
Bro, that's what we try to do here. That's what we try to do here. And as I say, it's a public service. You're a pastor. My father pastored the church for 28 years.
Amen.
And so I try to, use my platform to just give.
Yes.
Like we say, I'd rather y'all get this free game and free advice, because if y'all call the office, it's gonna be a different
invoice coming.
It's gonna be a different scenario and a different situation. Yes. So I sit here and give y'all everything on my head. I'd rather give it to you free. Because if I have to file paperwork with the court, you got to pay for these 28 years. You got to pay for these 28 years.
All them loans and student loans.
You got to pay for these 28 years.
I think this election has been the least policy-focused campaign on I have ever seen. That's on
Mm-hmm.
either side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Trump running for this second term.
Bro, he hadn't even come out.
even
You
said
know, we
nothing.
had 1,000 point. The Dow dropped 1,000 points. You know, day before yesterday. So you would think he would have jumped on there and would have said it's because of this policy, that policy. It was an uptick in unemployment, the job numbers that came out last Friday, you know, performed less than favorable. But at the same time, the 30-year fixed mortgage came down to like 6.5. And when the Fed met, you know, they're the ones that was playing around, in my opinion, because when the Fed met, seeing that, okay, we didn't go right into the recession that they thought we was going in, and looking at inflation, they was like, you know what, we can hold off to September. And the investors and all the folks that was in was like, man, y'all playing with my emotions. So they sold off to just be like, man, bruh, you know, we not going to keep playing with you. But yesterday, you know, it finished. It came back, you know. So Trump, bro, you would think with all these years in business, that would have been the time for him to shine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he'll say
He's
things,
distracted though right now.
bro.
He's distracted.
I voted for him in 2015 in the primary against Marco Rubio. I voted for him in there because I just, similar to, you know, I'm a mayoral candidate, you know, me and Marco went to law school together. We was in the same section, we was the same class. And the fact that, you know, he's a decent guy, he's a cool guy, come from humble beginnings. His dad was a bartender. You know what I'm saying? Like, understand the struggle, but it's something about getting tapped. And when them folks tapped him, you know, he took it, you know, and I can't look at another man's pockets. I can't say why another man would do something, but what it did to me was just like you sold out.
Yeah.
You know, to take on these policies of the Cuban exiles, so to speak, and all this stuff, and to participate in that when you know some of that stuff is just bogus. Like, y'all have benefited from government programs and subsidies more than anybody. More than anybody. You go back to the wet foot, dry foot policy or whatever, y'all benefit. Y'all getting money every month. Y'all getting all kind of stuff. And now y'all jumping on this, you know, y'all the number ones in line against illegal immigration.
You seen the immigrant with the like the 20,000 balance on her EBT card?
Bruh.
In New York.
Bruh.
You can holler at her.
Bruh. You know, but that's, well, I'm waiting on the rebuttal because JD Vance said that old boy is in favor of undocumented, I say undocumented, I'm gonna call anybody illegal immigrant as a human being, but undocumented workers, that he want to give them driver's license. Well, sometimes it makes sense to give them a driver's license. Sometimes it depends. Like, I'm not just gonna run up out there, man. But Trump, when I voted for him the first time, not in the general election, but in the primary, when I voted for him in the primary, you know, it was being optimistic about having a builder, having a developer in the White House, because we always had these folks who had no real life work experience. They never had to meet a payroll. They understand bonuses. They don't understand like what it is. They don't understand that, you know, you have your own family, but in running the business, sometimes, you know what, your family got to understand, like, hey, you know, we going to be okay, but I got payroll coming up. We may not have, you know, made our mark for this period. So I'm going to have to take from this, and we're going to have to fall back a little bit because I got to make sure I pay my employees, because that's the obligation. Like, if you've only gotten a government salary, you don't necessarily understand that. You don't necessarily understand that. And when you want to run for, you know, these offices, so I'm like, yo, this man has properties all over not only the United States, but he got stuff all over the world. So this man has to come in and deal. And so he was talking like that. He was like, yo, in Ireland, I know everybody over there. And then even over here, he was like, Lindsey Graham, Hillary Clinton at the time, they both blowing up my phone. I gave both of them checks. He even gave Kamala Harris a check in her Senate campaign. He was like, I gave everybody checks. That's what it was. They all begging. All these politicians begging. So I'm like, yeah, that makes sense to me. Little did I know, bro, that he was going to come in with just this demagoguery culture war, man. It's so unnecessary. The man was in 300 rap and R&B songs before he entered into politics. He was beloved by our community. So why would you just come out there and just diss the people who like mess with you? I've never understood that. I never understood that.
You have a good mind, brother. And I had to learn in politics. It's just it is like a stronghold that you come with good intentions, but there's so many hidden hands,
temptations,
alternative solutions.
Yeah. Like you were talking about the Supreme Court. I totally agree with you. There was a book written by Jeff Toobin, he's a CNN analyst.
Called the one that got caught.
The Nine.
Pleasure himself.
The Nine inside the world of the Supreme Court.
Yep.
And almost 70%, overwhelmingly, when he did the analysis of Supreme Court judges, how they rule, they almost unanimously vote consistently with the political philosophy of the president who appointed them. As a lawyer, you understand what that means.
Yeah.
Justice is supposed to be blind, according to the national norm, but that doesn't make no sense.
Look at Judge Cannon in Palm Beach. This lady getting reversed after reversed after reversed. And what did she do? She still dismissed the case for the classified document, saying that the special counsel is unconstitutional.
Right. Yeah.
So that
we need common sense. We need common sense in politics and in government. We have a higher calling to be fair to the public. That's right. No matter where you come from politically. Once you're in that position, you're beholden to no one but the people.
Let me tell you this, man. One of the things that I've seen, I've dabbled into development, in my career. And one of the things that I saw, which always, gave me pause with politicians, if you do not have, you don't have to be wealthy, but if you do not have a source of income that sustains you, where you can be comfortable in local politics, it is one of the most difficult positions to have, especially if you're looking at a growing, developing city like Miami Gardens, where you have all that real estate, you got the stadium, you got all these things that's coming to pass. Because in a development that I did, I saw it, bro, where it was just basically like we hit this town, and when we hit this particular town, we went through the CRA, and then going through the CRA, it was $6 million we got from HUD, $600,000 the CRA kicked in, and when the bid went down from 6 and then came down to that top 3, these cats that came in, bro, they really did not care about. I don't want to say that they didn't really care about the people, but it was the same to them. They just wanted to win. They just wanted to win. And so in winning, if you're going to get $12 million in tax credits, you're going to get all these different things, and you're looking at the long-term situation. What is $50,000? $50,000 is nothing. But $50,000 to a struggling preacher, $50,000 to some community activist, $50,000 to go and cry in front of the commission, or go in there and just shout and pass out about how this people over here are the ones that come in and save this community. Well, man, $50,000 goes a long way. And I'm not going to say a name, but I remember a person that came into local government making $28,000 a year, and when they left, was a millionaire.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
I had sent Stefan. Did you see the thing I sent you called the King's Act? You heard about the King's Act?
Tell me about it.
They Biden and them, they put something together to go against the immunity for Trump.
Against Trump's immunity legislation?
Yes, where now they have to go through the Congress Act. That's why I wanted to talk to you about that, because they're saying that they can go and bring it back through Congress, and then Congress
everything. But that's so okay. Understand, and then we're gonna let Iguodala close us out. But understand, Teddy, the Supreme Court, out of the three branches, is supposed to be the weakest branch.
Right.
Right now, it's the strongest branch. And why is that? It's the strongest branch because you can't get anything out of Congress. If you can't get anything out of Congress, then that means you're governing by fiat. You're governing by, these executive orders. And that's why, Biden was hesitant and reluctant to, close the border and do all these things, because Biden, is an institutionalist, going back 40 years in the Senate, where it's like, man, I can't just go down there and do that or whatever. In today's politics, you can. And I think too many people got frustrated with Biden because Biden wouldn't just go in there and say, bro, this is the new normal. I'm just going to do it. And then you got the Supreme Court slap you down. Like with student loans, forgiving the student loan, they slap you down. But to your point, had Trump come in there and like student loans, first of all, you wouldn't have had Florida contesting it. You wouldn't have had Texas contesting it, right? Just like Missouri came in there contesting, the New York sentencing. So it just says that he's still going to get sentenced in New York. So tune in. September, we might have us, they was chanting, lock him up. You know what I mean? Hey, if the judge in New York give him a week, 30 days? Man, everybody, the cop just went to jail yesterday who kidnapped the homeless guy in Hialeah and took him out. They didn't say that he beat him, but they convicted him of kidnapping. But we're going to let you close it out, brother, on what you got coming up, where you can be located, how you can be contacted, and where we can donate to your campaign.
Oh, family, it's been an enlightening experience. Thank you, wow, Teddy, and my good brother. Hey, you've schooled me today. I thank you for the inspiration to see a brother who can think critically and not be beholden to any side of the aisle. To hear that you are conservative, but you can also be critical of your own party and how they think and how they approach it. But that's my mindset, and I think we need to rethink politics. We have the power, the people. The power is in the people. In Miami Gardens, they tried to change the charter recently to give another term, to increase the term from 2 terms. When I was there, I served 2 terms. I left. Everybody that came before me served 2 terms and left. But this crop of cronies wanted to increase to 3 terms.
Why?
And the people, power corrupts.
More money.
But the people organized and said, no, this is now, even after they pushed at the Charter Review Committee meeting, the idea was brought, they said, no, we don't want it. But anyways, I'm saying that to say the power belongs to the people. I'm asking you, Miami Gardens, if you believe you have had the best leadership, the best representation for the last 4 years, keep Rodney Harris. If you want something different, someone that will address real crime issue, that will address not only economic development, but economic opportunity. If you want somebody that will listen to you, not feel like you are being trampled upon or silenced in your own community. Our residents come to the council meeting, they can't speak, and they're being berated by elected officials. If you want something different, Iguodala is your mayor.
That's your man.
Touch 362, Igodaro.
Touch 362.
The people love him too. Igodaro.
Ah! Bruh, I love what you just said because I was at the last commission meeting, and when I personally, I've been to lots of commission meetings, but I did see, someone came in and made a statement about, some issues or whatever, and then one of the commissioners just went off on the person. So when you just said that, I was like, you must was watching that on TV, live streaming or whatever. But they did. They went on there and went off. They was like, that's not true. We did do that. We did do this, and I just want the record to reflect that we did. Because the person was like, this is my experience, and usually because they're going to vote the way they vote anyway. Right. But you should always be courteous and generous to the people who lived there.
Brother Mathis, I didn't just say that because of that one incident. It happens all the time, and it's a pattern. My wife I did the bad job as a council person. The community elected my wife to do a better job. No, I'm joking. Listen, it's not uncommon to have a husband and wife to serve, and we've done it well. Because the people know our hearts. My wife fought against Formula One, just like I did, just like my previous council did. And on the day, she was the leading vote against Formula One vote. Not because we're business people, we understand how to deal. We want business, we want development, but it has to be done right. So on the night of Formula One vote, because she was the leading proponent against Formula One, she was advocating for what the community wanted. She found a bullet on her seat in the council chambers.
No way.
Yes, this was serious. They did a police investigation, and the phony and kangaroo investigation came out with a stupid conclusion that they were doing police target practice. Oh. In the city council chamber. I never heard that before.
What?
And so conveniently, you found the bullet in the seat of the leading proponent again. If they could do that against an elected official.
Inside of the chamber.
Inside the chamber. If they could do that to an elected official, imagine what they would do to you as a resident.
Right.
And after the vote, they were trying to deny, they gave all of the city council persons, out of the $500,000 they allocated to them a year, among themselves, they said they're going to give each council person $50,000 to do community projects. They have been getting their own monies, but when one of the council persons who voted, there were the two Shannons, my Shannon and Shannon Campbell. Shannon Campbell brought an item for a gun buyback program, for a community benefit program. They said they're not going to give her $50,000, a portion of her $50,000, because she voted against the original Formula One vote.
But how can they do that?
That's Miami Gardens. That is unethical.
And who is the they that says you're not going to get it because of this vote?
This city council, Robert Stevens said it on record, council person. Linda Julian said it on record, and Reggie Leon said it on record. Public record. How dumb can you be? That is unethical, if not illegal, to suppress the vote of your colleague because you're trying to penalize them for a vote. That's being punitive. And not just to that council person, but you're denying the residents that she represents. Mm-hmm. You're denying the resident that she represents. They are proportional.
You're advocating for a whole new board.
They have to. We want a clean house. We have to clean. This is an election. This election is critical. The mayor is on the line, and three other seats are on the line. So, if the mayor goes, so goes the other seat 5. We have to get things right in Miami Gardens. We're not.
Is it a coincidence that preachers are running now? Because I know Stevens is a pastor now. Is his church in Miami Gardens?
His church is not in Miami Gardens. But how do you be a preacher and a pastor and you... The word says, to whom much is given, much is expected. You don't deny your fellow human being something because you're angry at them. That is a punitive vote that you're going to say because you didn't. It's like a kid. When we play college, you play pick-up ball. Somebody who don't really have the skill but has the ball and don't get picked. Take their ball home. That's not sportsmanship.
That happens. That's
But how long you want to stay out there and watch the play? But how long you got to stay and watch the play if you're not playing though?
At some point, you're going to learn how to play.
You gotta,
Yeah, at some point you're like, okay, I'll let y'all play one more game. I'm I gotta go. I'm not gonna sit here and watch y'all run up and down the court.
Yo, I want to say a big shout out to Brothers Barbecue, which is in Miami Gardens, who sponsored food for us today. 786-916-5942, DoorDash, Uber Eats. They available. They deliver. They got the pork sauce, chicken sauce, Brothers Barbecue. They do a big shout out to Jit. What up?
That's what
Brothers
it is,
Barbecue,
man.
Miami Gardens, and Sister Tamila Boyd. Thank you for your contribution to our community.
Oh,
Listen.
woo, table.
Y'all heard it.
Push a button and let the roof on the lag down. I'm on the road doing shows, put my Mac down. Mississippi to Philly, Albuquerque to Chat.